Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me welcome you to the Burke County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for September the 20th, 2022. As you can see, Scott Mulvey is not here tonight. He is on a well-deserved vacation in Scotland. So he's a long way away. So, Madam Clerk, we do have a quorum here. The other four commissioners, Commissioner Abley, Commissioner Taylor, myself, and Commissioner Britton are here, along with the county manager, the deputy county managers, county clerk, and county attorney. With us tonight to do our invocation is our good friend, the Reverend Dr. Wayne A. Johnson, Sr. from Shiloh AME Church. After he gives the invocation, we will then do the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America, led by our county attorney, J.R. Simpson. So if you will stand for me, and we'll ask Dr. Johnson to come forward. And as he is making his way to the podium, I would like to mention a couple of names before we pray. Marvin Norman passed away this week. Marvin was a commissioner in Iredell County. Marvin was a commissioner since the year 2002. Marvin was the first black commissioner ever in Iredell County. Very soft-spoken. When we would have a meeting, Marvin wouldn't say a whole lot. But when Marvin spoke, people listened. He was a man of God. And he was a dear friend of mine. Forrest Fleming from the city of Morganton, council person, has been laid to rest also. Forrest and I were started back in the late 60s together when he was a juvenile probation officer, and he worked his way through the prison system. Forrest was a same kind of guy probably as Marvin. He didn't have to say a whole lot, but when he spoke, again, he listened. He was Jeff went to church with him down there. He was a deacon in their church. Did a lot of good work down there at Mount Home Baptist Church, so we have to remember him. Also, Renee Wisneth, the sheriff's wife. I think everybody is aware now that she either fell and had a stroke or had a stroke and fell. I'm not quite sure, but she's at Baptist Hospital. They're doing a lot of work on her. So we've had some people that have hard times. And it's been hard on us that when you lose friends like that. So you probably know people yourself. So let's remember those as we go to prayer.
Let us pray. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. We pause and ask the question, what is humanity that you are mindful of us when we are made lower than angels? We come to thee because we know that we serve a God of grace and a God of glory. And on thy people we ask that you would pour your power. For the names that have been called, individually and collectively, and all of us in this room know someone either in our family or a friend that might be in need of your gracious mercy and favor. We realize that we are better by nature than we are by practice. And as this august body meets this evening, we ask that you would be with us, that you would rule and super rule not only in this space, but throughout the world. We pray for your heavenly benediction, and we ask that you would grant us wisdom, grant us courage for the facing of these days and for this very hour. And we thank you and we praise you. And all of the people in this room together said, Amen.
Please join us in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend Johnson and J.R. One more thing before we get started, I want to mention, today, I want us to remember our law enforcement in Burke County, and matter of fact, all over the United States of America. This has been a hard day for law enforcement. There's a tragic incident happened here in Burke County that most people already know about, so let's remember the times that officers have to do things that they don't want to get up in the mornings and expect to do some things that they have to do. So please remember our law enforcement as we go through our meeting. All right, gentlemen, the agenda's been in front of you for a couple of days now. Does anybody have any questions about it, or can I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, one comment before we get started.
Yes, sir.
My fault, I guess, but my hearing aids were supposed to be back in 5 days. They've been gone 30 days. So if you speak today, speak a little louder for me so I can understand you. Thank you.
All right, brother, we'll pull that a little bit closer and see if we can make sure that we do that. Okay, and the agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I have a motion to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by raising of the right hand. That be 4-0, Madam Clerk. Thank you. We also have minutes in front of us today from April the 5th, the pre-agenda meeting, April the 19th, the regular meeting, and April the 26th, the special meeting. We've had the opportunity to take a look at those. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I reviewed those on the fast scan and did not find any regulatory issues with it. And I make the motion that they be approved as rendered.
All right, we have a motion, Commissioner Taylor. All in favor signify by the raising of the right hand. Madam Clerk, that will be 4-0. Thank you. We'll move into item number 6 is our presentations for tonight. Their very first presentation will be the Pet of the Month, and that will be presented by Caitlin Settlemeyer, our Animal Services Director, and her special friend.
Thanks for having us again this evening. So we are going to present our September Pets of the Month. And I will apologize. Apparently we're going to have more commissioners meetings because every time I put one into the PowerPoint slide, they get adopted before we bring them up here. So this is Buster. He was going to be, that's fantastic news. He was going to be our Pet of the Month, but we switched it over to Stanley because Buster left with his forever family today at about 1:30. So very exciting for him. We're very happy about that. So our cat of the month is going to be Mr. Bruno. This guy is absolutely handsome. If anybody has a soft spot for these big tomcats that have these giant heads and these tattered ears, he is absolutely perfect. So if you guys are interested in meeting him, he is a big cuddle bug. He is one that you can throw on his back and rock him like a baby. So if that is what you are looking for, Bruno is definitely the guy for you. He's available at Burke County Animal Services. And this evening we did bring Stanley up in lieu of Buster getting adopted. Stanley's been with us about a week, so we're getting to know one another. I do know that he is pretty nervous on car rides, so that'll be something that he needs to be introduced to. But he does great with everybody else. He loves people. He knows how to sit. He knows how to lay down. So if you are interested in taking Stanley home and making him a part of your family, please do. He would be absolutely perfect. And he does seem to like other dogs. So that's what we found out about Sweet Stanley so far. I do want to remind everyone we do have a responsible pet ownership program for people who are looking to learn a little bit more about responsible pet ownership or may need some help with supplies. We are facing hard times. We are seeing a lot of animals being surrendered to the shelter or being found astray. So if you have something that you're needing, please do not let your animal loose. Please call us for resources. We do have this great class. Our next one is actually this Saturday, and we can help get you supplies that we need, as well as if you've been issued citations by animal control, we can help dismiss those if you attend our program. So that is this Saturday. And then, as always, if you're interested, we are open till 7 this evening. So come down and see us. And we're at 425 Kirksey Drive. You can reach us by phone or by email. So give us a call, come by and visit. We always have a bunch of animals to look at that are looking for their homes.
Okay, Caitlin, thank you so much. Gentlemen, any questions, comments?
I just wanted to ask Caitlin, are we still shipping any dogs up north, or is that still working out? Or?
Yeah, so it slowed down there for a little bit because our northern rescue groups tend to get inundated throughout the summer as well. They still experience smaller cat and kitten seasons, but we are looking at doing a transport the end of this week. So it is starting back up, and that is still something we're doing. It's going to be about 30 animals going up this week.
Good.
So.
Well, it looks like we've been inundated every weekend with dogs and cats. They're just being surrendered faster than we can take them in. Obviously, we have plans for the future of what we can do with the Animal Services Center. But in the interim, I really, again, encourage everybody to spay and neuter. That does the trick. Spay and neuter does the trick. So, spay and neuter. Yeah, I'll say it one more time. So, but thank you for the yeoman's job that you and the volunteers are doing at the center. And it will get better. We promise you that. All
Thank
right.
you.
Anything else? All right. Thank you, Caitlin. All right, our next item is presentation for staff recognitions for Zoning Official of the Year, and that will be presented by Alan Glines, Deputy County Manager and our Planning Director. Alan?
Thank you, commissioners and members of the public, members of staff. Glad to come up today to have a recognition. Bradley Kirkley is the zoning administrator for Burke County and serves in many capacities in community development. Bradley is the first call for zoning-related questions pertaining to development, and these numbers are by the dozens each day. There are also the shoreline permits, which if you have seen the lakefront development occurring in Burke County, Bradley helps homeowners understand what they can do with their lakefronts. Bradley also spends time with code enforcement complaints and follows up on individual cases. Code complaints result in an average of about 280 code enforcement cases each year that are followed up on. As needed, Bradley also assists with text amendments to the county zoning ordinance, and we have some of those we'll be bringing forward to the commission for consideration this year. Bradley and Pete Minter, our senior planner, maintain their credentials as certified zoning officials with the North Carolina Association of Zoning Officials, the NCAZO. At this year's conference, Bradley was awarded the NCAZO Zoning Official of the Year for 2022. The Community Development Department is very proud to recognize Bradley's hard work and dedication and on behalf of the citizens of Burke County. So Bradley, come on up and thank you very much. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
All right, Bradley, if you would stay there, we want you to say a few words, and then Madam Clerk wants the commissioners to come down and take our picture with you also.
Okay. Didn't prepare a speech of any kind, but I'll say the same as what I said when I accepted the award at the conference. I'm not worthy of what I turned and got. We accomplished what we do as a department, as a group. It is not one individual. It is not me. I do as I'm instructed to do, and when I was hired for this job 15 plus years ago, I had a goal of making what we have here better day by day. And if that's a little part of what I do, I think that's the end result speaks for itself. We've come a long way from what we are as a department, from me as a zoning person, and hopefully we continue to grow and continue to do better. So this is just the first step of what's to come.
Thank you so much. Gentlemen, any comments before we move down and take a
Mr.
picture?
Chairman, I think it's important to relay the good things as well as some of the things that we don't think are so pleasant. But Bradley, I got two compliments from you and mentioned you by name in the last 30 days. I also got a compliment from Shane that people had made compliments to me, and I really appreciate the good work. I appreciate the quickness in which you turn things around, and the issue down on South Fork Avenue was one that I got involved with, and I appreciated. We got a bunch of people that thinks rules don't apply anymore, and it's just, I feel sorry for you sometimes, Bradley, but you handle those situations so well. You need a feather in your cap, and I'm happy to support and echo the award that was just presented to you. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
All right, gentlemen, let's move down and take a picture. Bradley, as we move down, you want to introduce your wife and daughter?
Certainly. I'm sorry. I'm happy to have family in attendance tonight. My wife, Amy Kirkland, my daughter Avery is here, as well as my mother-in-law, Betty Thomas.
Hi there. Yeah, okay. Come on in. You want back here? All right.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen. Our next order of business is the National Disability Employment Awareness Month of October 2022, and that's going to be presented by Janet Hanna. Janet, if you'll come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Janet Hanna. I'm with Vocational Rehab Services. I have my two counterparts with me, Shelley Cash and Kay Smith. We work with persons with disabilities in the state of North Carolina, specifically Burke County, at helping them seek and maintain employment. But I have a little gadget here that I'm going to see if one of the commissioners can tell us what this little gadget is. It is a little gadget that I borrowed from Assistive Technology. North Carolina and Burke County is blessed to have an assistive technology office located at our VR facility. So let's just see if you...
It's a breathalyzer.
It's a breathalyzer? No, not a breathalyzer.
We're testing Johnny first.
We're testing, yeah. What about you, Jeff? Any idea? Okay. Mr. Taylor?
Yes, excuse me.
Do you have any idea what our little toy is?
I have the plus and the minus. I guess it's to turn the volume up and down on.
Turn the volume up and down. Mr. Abley? All right. I am going to show you what this little thing can do, and lo and behold, it went off again. Okay. It's not working well. So you take it and you hold it down.
Common, Org, Green, 110N, YouTube, Tuesday, September 20th, 2022, 6 p.m., N, Burke County.
So it is a reader, an individual with a learning disability, someone who can't read, an individual with dyslexia, an individual whose eyesight is declining. This is a little gadget that they can use so that they're able to read. So I'm now going to turn us over to Shelley.
So we have a statewide BRR team, and BRRs are business relations representatives. And the three of us are part of that statewide team, and we work directly with the businesses and the clients we serve to help them seek employment and to maintain their jobs. We follow them for 90 days and assist as we need to, like we can go in and job coach, we can go in and help find accommodations such as this one. We do things that we can to help them maintain their employment, and so they can become a successful working citizen. Last fiscal year, just as some numbers, we helped 1,285 individuals across North Carolina attain employment, and out of those 940 kept their job for 3 months or longer. So that's what our team does, and that's statewide. And Kay's going to share some just Burke County numbers with you as well. we're going to put this thing off because it's making noise in my hand. Thank you, Shelley. Well, throughout the pandemic, many businesses have experienced, Janet over here talking, have experienced staffing shortages, and I'm sure everybody has felt the pain of that, just like our agency and the businesses. And like we shared, we help people with disabilities and barriers to employment to get jobs and to keep those jobs. Like my specialty is deaf and hard of hearing, so I might could help you with a hearing aid. But, you know, the good news is now, you know, a lot of businesses are reaching out to our agency to fill those positions. And, you know, if we have someone, then we can refer them to that business. And so they're looking more at diversity hiring and hiring persons with disabilities. So as a team, we have helped, like in the past year, or past fiscal year in Burke County, we had 96 people to successfully obtain employment and keep their job. So that's pretty good.
That's just here in Burke County.
Yeah, that's just Burke County. And now Janet has some more information.
All right. Thank you so much, Kay, and thank you again. As a part of those 96 individuals that we have successfully placed, we have placed individuals with Burke County government, Burke County school system, the hospital. We have placed individuals at James Tool, various restaurants and fast food, retail stores, Fairfield Inn. So the list is huge. As a matter of fact, this past month, Kay placed 5 individuals in employment, and I placed 7 individuals in employment. Shelley has another specialty caseload, and that is our high school population. So she can't really start placing them in employment until their junior, senior year. So, but she had an internship this past month. And so we also do internships, and actually our 2 Burke County government placements started as an internship that was VR sponsored and paid for. The individuals was able to go in and work just like they're an intern as a learning experience, and upon the completion of their internship, that employer decided to keep them on as permanent employees. But on with what October is. In recognition of the importance of the role of people with disabilities play in a diverse and inclusive American workforce, the theme for the National Disability and Employment Awareness Month, our shortcut is DEAM 2022 will be disability, a part of the equality equation. This event is observed annually and is observed in October of every year, and DEAM celebrates the contributions of American workers with disabilities, past, present, and showcases supportive, inclusive employment policies and practices. So, thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Janet. Gentlemen, questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, a couple of quick things, if
Yes,
you
sir.
will, about disability. You know, when I found out my hearing was going bad, I got 2 disabilities. They said I had hearing loss, and then they took $2,500 out of my pocket, which meant I had less cash. But I do want to share with you just, it is amazing how some of these people deal and live with disabilities. I take my hat off to them. I pray for them. They are so gifted to have that desire to go on and continue. We had a member of our church who was deaf, and he attended church as regular as anybody in the church. We finally got people who could do the sign language for him, and we got people at church now, and most of these gentlemen do too. You know, they come to church pushing a chair or support in order to get there. And we can't get young people to come 3 Sundays in a row to save your life, but they're there every Sunday. So, you know, I love the compassion that America has for the disability people. It's just wonderful. And it's wonderful they got people like you that's out there working every week to make life a little bit better for them. So we thank you.
Thank you. And you mentioned something is with your hearing loss, and the majority of individuals in our community have what's called as a hidden disability, which is a disability that you or I, neither one, see. And in this room, we've got roughly 30 people. And I can honestly say that within this room of 30 people, probably 50% of you have what's considered a hidden disability. Arthritis, anxiety, depression, diabetes, so ADHD, learning disabilities. So those are just a sample of a lot of the individuals that we serve. So,
Thank you again.
thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, how many counties do you guys work with?
How many
Counties?
counties? We work specifically with Burke County, but every county in the state has representatives of vocational rehabilitation services.
And since I cover a specialty caseload, I have 17 counties.
Thank
We could take referrals.
Yes,
if
we
you go to one.
definitely need referrals. Right now I have 20 referrals, and of my 20 referrals, I've got 17 of them working. So, we definitely need some referrals.
How do people get in touch with you?
Very good question. Individuals can call our office at 828-608-5600, or they can stop by our office off of Enola Road behind the Yellow House, Fruits of Our Labor. Fruits of Our Labor is also ran by us, and the craft items made in that house are made by individuals who come through our training program.
And I left business cards.
Yes.
Fantastic.
All right.
Anything else, gentlemen? Well, you do a wonderful job, and you probably told a lot of people things they did not know tonight,
Well, that's what we're here for.
including me.
Well, thank you very much. We
So
appreciate
we're
that.
very appreciative of you being here. Gentlemen, we'll need a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve proclamation number 2022-07.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Taylor. All in favor, please raise your right hands. Madam Clerk, that passes 4-0, and we have something else. Yeah, that's yours, Shannon.
Thank you.
I've already signed.
Forgive me.
No problem. All right, we'll move on to our next order of business, and that will be from Reason. This will be the introduction of our new president and public awareness campaign presented by the new president, Aaron Kaiser, along with our friend Jeff Morse from Reason, which is reduce euthanasia by spaying and neutering. All right, jump on up here.
Good evening, Vice Chairman and members of the board again. My name is Aaron Kaiser. I'm currently serving as president of Reason, Reduce Euthanasia and Spay or Neuter. First, I'd like to thank all of you for your support of Reason throughout the years. We could not have accomplished what we're going to talk about tonight without it. Our small group of volunteers continue to work toward achieving our mission of reducing euthanasia in Burke County. We do this through providing assistance to those without the financial means to spay and neuter their pets, and by educating the public on humane animal treatment. We welcome anyone in Burke County who has questions or feel they could use our services to just give us a call. We welcome anyone who is interested in volunteering. We also welcome any of the commissioners to stop by a registration or transport event to see what we do. I am now going to turn this over to our newer board member, Jeff Morse, to present our annual accomplishments and goals.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity. When I retired 7 years ago, one of my goals was never to have to appear before a county commission or city council again. I didn't ask my wife, so she reminded me. In fact, I got involved with Reason as a result of my wife's involvement, and it's a great organization. I really have a passion for what they accomplish. And Kay gave me the instructions how to use everything here, so I will hopefully see if it works. Okay, just the facts. As you can see, in 2012, 5,508 animals were euthanized, which represented 83% of incoming animals. Compare that to 2021, when 310 animals were euthanized, representing 18% of incoming animals. This is a great progress, but we know our community can do better. As mentioned, we have launched a brand new website with many new features. Please visit the website at your convenience, which is shown on the projector there. Accomplishments. Over the last fiscal year, Reason has successfully completed 405 surgeries serving 250 Burke County residents. Of the 405 animals, 262 were females who previously delivered over 109 litters. If Reason had not intervened and the 662 females had not been spayed, they could have produced approximately 2,489 puppies and kittens in a one-year period. Can you imagine the impact on our county if we were dealing with this additional number of animals in our already overburdened system? Out of the 405 surgeries, 346 or 85% required rabies vaccinations. We are very proud to say that since its inception in 2012, Reason has assisted with more than 4,600 spay and neuter surgeries. Partnerships. Reason partners with Burke County to provide additional assistance for Burke County residents through a voucher program at Animal Services. The purpose of this program is to reach out to individuals who come into Animal Services who the staff feels need help in attaining a spay or neuter for their animal. They often are those that would have surrendered their animal to Animal Services as they could not afford the risk the animal having a litter, but were not financially able to have their dog or cat fixed. This program is aimed at further accomplishing our mission of reducing the euthanasia rate. In the fiscal year 2021-22, 53 surgeries were completed, 22 dogs and 31 cats, an 83% increase from last year. 47 out of the 53 received rabies vaccinations. This means only 11% were already current. These vouchers are given out by Animal Services staff. This partnership allowed many animals to remain with their families who otherwise would have surrendered their animals to the shelter due to their inability to afford to have their animals spayed or neutered. Reason partners with many other organizations to accomplish our goals, including Burke County, along with the North Carolina Department of Agricultural Spay Neuter Reimbursement Program, Burke County Animal Services. Our partnership with the Animal Services is an important part of our mission. We utilize their parking lot once a month as a drop-off and pickup point where Reason clients' pets are transported to the spay-neuter clinic in History. And Animal Services also utilizes this service for transporting some of their animals for spay and neuter. Many Reason volunteers also volunteer at the Animal Services as well. Reason works closely with local vets, spay-neuter clinics who we contract with to provide designated slots for our clients to receive low-cost spay and neuter of their animals. And Morum, which is formerly Hospice and Palliative Care of Burke County. Reason also has partnered with the Department of Social Services. Reason is collaborating with the county commissioners, Animal Services, Animal Service Foundation, and several rescue organizations to put together an educational event that will also include rabies vaccinations for the pets of Burke County citizens who attend. This will take place in December. Funding. Reason currently receives funding through the Spay and Neuter Reimbursement Program, pass-through monies from Burke County, client co-payments, Burke County for Animal Services Voucher Program, grants, donations, and the State Employees Combined United Way campaign. What's next? Our future plans are to continue to lower Burke County's euthanasia rate by reducing the number of homeless or unwanted pets by spaying and neutering more animals. expand our education in the community regarding the importance of spay-neuter, which will include collaborating with rescue groups, animal services, and Burke County Board of Commissioners to present a community educational event in November that will also include rabies vaccinations for the pets of Burke County citizens who attend. Thank you for allowing us the time to present our program's mission, its accomplishments over the past year, and our goals for the future. We're extremely grateful for all the support given to us by the county commissioners and our partnership with Animal Services. We look forward to continuing the work that we have started, and with your help and support, along with our continued partners, our mission will continue. And if I might add some, and then we have this great picture. These are all of our volunteers and their little pets. And the one in the middle is me and my dog, Cola. I do want to mention one thing that's not part of this presentation is my genuine recognition of a thank you to this county commission for all your efforts on behalf of the animals in this county and the protection of them and their safety. And I know you have a lot on the drawing board, and we look forward to working with you as you proceed. Thank you again.
Thank you, Aaron and Jeff. Gentlemen, questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, if I might ask one, back to your Just the Facts, it's on page 65 of our packet. 2012, you received 6,617 dogs and cats. In 21, you received 1,736 dogs and cats. In 20, you received 1,454 dogs and cats. What created that great decline in number of dogs you received? Is there an explanation of that, Jeff?
I'm going to let one of the professionals answer that question.
You're going to let your butler, the driver, answer that?
Aaron or somebody, or Dan?
Yeah, you're going to have to come up here. We got to get you on the recording.
I mean, that's an excellent
It is an
fact.
excellent fact, but it goes to show that the spay neuter and our efforts, along with in 2018, was when Animal Services went under the direction of the county manager's office, and I think that had a huge impact. But spay and neuter has really decreased the number of animals that are actually going into the shelter. So,
Well, I thought you might tell me it was the economy because of the COVID that everybody got rid of the dogs.
actually, from what I've heard, the economy and COVID had a good and a bad effect, because during COVID, I think people were at home and they did tend to adopt more dogs and cats. And as they're going back to work and everything, they're finding that they don't have as much time or whatever. Sorry excuse. But, then they are turning them back in or abandoning them, so.
Well, when I read that and reviewed it, I just thought it was such a great number of decline. And that somebody somewhere definitely was doing something right.
Yeah, I always like to show that graph, because it always makes me feel good about what are trying to accomplish, and that you can sort of see a little bit of the accomplishment there.
Okay. And one other quick question. Are these numbers Burke County wide, or are they just the animal shelter?
These numbers are Burke County wide, but they are through animal shelter.
Okay. All right. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Anyone else? Well, on behalf of the Burke County Board of Commissioners, let me say, would you folks, if you're with Reason, would you just stand up here so we can see who all's here tonight from Reason? Okay, we got several, all right. Well, thank you, and Aaron, it's good to have you aboard. We thank Reason for everything that you have done, and you can see what you've done by the numbers that are up there on that board. Don't stop, please. As it says at the bottom, is when we don't need you anymore is when we've accomplished what we're supposed to be doing here in Burke County. Spay and neuter, right? Spay and neuter. So again, thank you so very much. Gentlemen, we'll need a motion.
Make a motion to accept the report as presented.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Taylor. All in favor signify by the raising of the right hand. Madam Clerk, that will be 4-0. Thank you very much. All right, move on to our next item of business. This will be from a certificate of achievement from the Government Finance Officers Association for excellence in finance reporting, and that will be presented by the County Manager, Brian Steen. Brian?
Thank you, gentlemen. I thought I was pretty loud, but we can get louder. I guess we just say she's done it again. Our finance officer and her crew for a second time. The rigors of that, I certainly don't know. That's not what I do for a living. But between the normal stuff, COVID, the federal funds, the opioid funds, and special appropriations from the state, she's got her hands full and still got an award. So I want to congratulate her and her staff for doing this the second time in a row, and she's telling me it gets harder each time. So keep it up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Margaret, you may want to tell us what we had to do to get that award, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. Our regular audited financials, you have to, in order to get the award, you have to expand them with a couple of additional sections. So we do what's called a letter of transmittal, where we take about 6 or 8 pages and write a narrative about all the amazing things about Burke County. And we enjoy that opportunity to brag about our county to the National Government Finance Officers Association. And then we add a section called statistics, and we take through there, we have, I think right now, about 12 tables where we do 10 years worth of data comparing different factors and employment numbers. We work with Alan Wood's office to get some of those. We work with area businesses. We work with our departments to show operational data. We track all of this, employee numbers, all kinds of different things we put into these to add to our regular financials. So this is 140, give or take, pages of really cool information for those of you that need something to read each year. We love it, and I could not do it without my staff. They were here at pre-agenda, but were not able to be here tonight. But it takes a village to raise this baby, and we're in the throes again. We've almost got to delivery date. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Gentlemen, comments?
Mr. Chairman, the audience and the people watching on TV doesn't get to read all that we got, but there's an important statement in here that I think we missed the mark if we don't include it for our minutes. And it says this certificate of achievement is the highest, and get that word, highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting. That's pretty dadgum good. Thank you.
It's pretty good. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, Margaret, on behalf of the Burke County Board of Commissioners, we recognize and congratulate you and your department again for the fine work that you do. Ladies and gentlemen. We'll now move into item number 7, which is our scheduled public hearings. Our first item will be from our tax assessor administrator, Mr. John Bridgers, and that will be the presentation of the 2023 schedule of value, present use schedule of value and public hearing. John?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Commissioners, it's a pleasure to be here tonight with you. And so I'll just start in with the presentation. This is a picture of the Burke County Courthouse taken many years ago when there were some big trees around it, and I thought it would be interesting to put this in here, but with no further ado, we'll go ahead. Revaluation, why we do it, and what is it? We do it because the statutes say we have to. It's also to be fair and to remove inequities in our tax values. GS 105-286, time for reappraisal, says that every county has to do a real property appraisal at least once every 8 years. But it also gives the counties an option at the discretion of the board of Commissioners to conduct an earlier revaluation or reappraisal. So Department of Revenue, North Carolina Department of Revenue recommends that all counties adopt a 4-year schedule if at all possible. So Burke County has opted to adopt the 4-year schedule. So the last time the county did a countywide reappraisal was in 2019. So the next scheduled one is in 2023. So we also do it to be just and equitable to our taxpayers. The North Carolina Constitution says in Article 5, which is finance, Section 2, state and local taxation, number 1, under that says the power of taxation shall be exercised in a just and equitable manner. So ad valorem taxes is a Latin phrase, and it literally means according to value. And this term is also interchangeable with the term property tax. So our property taxes are ad valorem taxes. So in North Carolina, all property owners pay taxes according to the value of their property. So revaluation is the process of setting those property values for the next cycle, the next 4-year cycle. So revaluation is not about raising someone's taxes. We're not about screwing people, the taxpayer, although some people think that's what we're doing. We're really not. It's about ensuring that the tax burden on the individual citizens is fair and balanced. So property values change continuously. They change from day to day. They change at different rates. Some go up, some go down, others remain static. As property values change, it's impractical for the county tax office to try to match those tax values every year with the continuous changes in market values. So we set a date to what those valuations are, and that specific point in time is always January 1 of whatever that revalue year is. So the property tax owner is paying at 100% of their value based on whatever that date of revaluation is. And so this current cycle coming up will be January 1 of 2023. Since 2019 revaluation, property values obviously in Burke County have changed because of the inflation that we're currently experiencing in our economy and the overall economy. Just about every property in the county has increased in value. Just as the price of automobiles, groceries, gasoline, everything else has increased, so has real estate. While some properties have had a significant increase in value, others may have had a more moderate increase. So these are 2 real homes. Now they're not in Burke County, but they're real homes and these are real values. So in 2019, but this is using Burke County tax information as if they were in Burke County. So in 2019, the taxes on home A would have been $1,432, and the taxes on home B would have been $1,411. So pretty close to the same, but they're about the same value. So the percent of value those taxes represent is 0.695%. So both homeowners are paying the same percentage of taxes on the value of their home, and that just happens to be what the tax rate is. The 2022 value of both these homes has changed from 2019. Home A, the value was $278,000. Home B was $419,000. The 2022 taxes, which is based on the 2019 value, was still the same $1,432 for home A and $1,411 for home B. The percent value of what they're paying in taxes for home A is 0.0051% for home A and 0.00336 for home B. So home A is paying a much greater percent of value on their home than home B is, even though they're still paying the same amount of taxes. Their individual burden is different based on what they own. So GS 105-283 says that the Uniform Appraisal Standard says all property and personal and real shall be appraised as far as practical, be appraised or valued at its true value in money. When used in this subchapter, the words true value shall be interpreted meaning market value. That means by state law, the county is required to appraise all real property and personal property at 100% of its market value. So market value is the price estimated in terms of money at which the property would change hands between a willing buyer and a willing seller. This is also known as arm's length transaction. For instance, if you were going to sell your house to your son or grandson or grandchild, granddaughter, you're not going to sell that to them what you would to a perfect stranger, because that's not an arm's length transaction if you're selling it to a family member. So estimates of market value are established by an appraisal. There are fee appraisals and there's mass appraisals. Fee appraisal is a very in-depth appraisal. A mass appraisal is a very general appraisal. In a fee appraisal, appraisers have complete access to the property. In a mass appraisal, appraisers only have limited, if any, access to the property. In a fee appraisal, it compares one property to several specific comparable properties or properties very much like the one that's being appraised. And in the mass appraisal, we use neighborhoods of similar homes to compare a home with the rest of that neighborhood. A fee appraisal is usually done by an individual for an individual property when they are obtaining a loan on their home, or want to obtain a loan on their home. A mass appraisal is what we do in the county for the revaluation, and it's done on all the properties in the county. So to determine the value, let's say we have two identical homes, but one's on a paved street, it's got street lights, curbs and sidewalks, water and sewer. But the other home is on a dirt road or gravel road, there's no street lights, no curbs, no sidewalks, and there's no water or sewer. Which home would sell for the most money? Probably the one on the left. Two more identical homes. One adjoins a livestock facility. It's right next to Interstate 40. There's no street lights, no curbs, sidewalks, and has no water and sewer. The other one joins the National Forest. It's on a country lane or an SR road. There's no street lights, no curbs or sidewalks. It also has no water or sewer. Just because one property may have nicer amenities, that does not guarantee that it's going to have a higher value. It just depends on what the individual market's doing for that particular house. So when you have a neighborhood, what we try to do is group properties into neighborhoods where you got similar houses and they're similar style, similar size, about the same quality home, built about the same time. So if you've got a neighborhood, let's say 50 homes, and 15 or 20 of those homes sell for about the same amount of money, then you can figure those homes that have not sold would sell for about the same as those that did sell. The difficulty comes in for pricing of property is when there's a great diversity of homes or there's very few sales. Fortunately, over the whole of Burke County in the last 2 years, there have been many sales of real estate. Having many sales allows the tax office the ability to set these new tax values that we're going to be using for the next cycle with a greater assurance that we are being accurate and therefore being fair and just to the citizens. In preparation for the 2023 revaluation, we have found the overall increase in property values across Burke County is 38%. Land values themselves have increased about 19%. And building values and home values have increased about 46%. So this is a chart for Burke County, and it's used in single-family dwellings, condominium, or townhomes, and all property types. And this is specifically for Burke County, but it came from the Charlotte Regional MLS, or Multiple Listing Service. So if we look at the single-family dwellings by itself, this chart goes at the bottom from January 1, 2008 through July of 2022. So we can see that from January of 2008 up through January of 2015, the value, the selling price, the median selling price, fluctuated somewhat. And part of that's reflected because of the Great Recession when the economy tanked about 2008. But starting in January of 2015, we can see that the prices, the median price for single-family dwellings in Burke County has steadily increased up through June of 2022, excuse me. Now in July of 2022, the market has cooled ever so slightly, but you can also see at the bottom of this chart that there was an average time on a particular house was on the market was 108 days, and in January of 2013, it was as much as 168 days, and then in July of 2022, it was down to 31 days. So people are putting homes on the market and they're turning around and selling them. So just how does a county determine its tax rate? The Board of Commissioners determines what kind of money they need or how much money they need to get the needed expenses, and that's the schools, administration, the public works, social services, parks and recreation, rainy day fund, everything the county is going to spend money on. Then they look at estimated income from all sources. That's going to be sales tax, occupancy tax, beer and wine fees, building permits, everything, grants, all of anticipated income. So they take the needed expenses and subtract the estimated income to get what I call the pot. And the pot's what's needed to be filled by property taxes. So then the commissioners look at the sum value of all taxable property. That's land, personal property, which includes boats, motor vehicles, mobile homes, business personal property. So then the sum divided by the pot that needs to be filled divided by the sum value of all taxable property equals the tax rate. So using the 2022 budget figures, Burke County needed $52,200,000 of tax revenue to operate. The total value of all taxable property, and this is, I've rounded here, is $7,500,000,000. So if you divide the 52 million divided by the 7 billion, that's where we get the tax rate. So if we take that $7.5 billion and increase it by 38%, we get $2,850,000,000. And I can tell you right now, the value will not increase that much because this current value figure also includes automobiles and personal property, which depreciates. So this is just for an example. So if you take the current value, add that potential increase, we get $10,350,000,000. So the current budget needed to fill that pot was $52,200,000. That's not going to appreciably change from one year to the next year. So if we divide that by that total potential value, you'd come up with a tax rate of 50.4 cents is what it would be, or 0.00504 cents. So what everybody wants to know is, are my property taxes going up? Well, if we go back to these examples I've used of the two homes there, if you increase the value of both those homes by 38%, home A would be valued at $284,280. Home B would be valued at $280,140. times that potential tax rate that we just figured. So the taxes on the two of them would be just about the same for the two homes. So there's $1 difference between one of them. So just because someone's value is going up does not mean their tax value is going up or the taxes are going up. The bottom line, if someone's value goes up more than the average increase across the county, their taxes are going up. If their value increase is less than the average across the county, their taxes will probably go down. Any questions?
All right, thank you, John. Gentlemen, questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I have several, and some of them are not as much comment as just that, again, reading through the information, I think one thing that, first of all, is to commend John for the excellent presentation. I was wondering how you was going to get 317 pages or whatever in this book, but that was an excellent presentation. But one of the most important things that I think from an audience standpoint and viewers is that North Carolina law states that the property owner is responsible and has the burden of proof that he feels his property value is too high or needs a change. The question I was going to ask is there a one-sheeter that gives a step-by-step process? Or if I'm thinking about challenging the values, do you give me the entire book?
We don't give them the entire book, and we will be sending out new property notices, valuation notices, sometime after the first year, probably the middle of February. And that will have information for the homeowner, the property owner, of what, if they think it's unjust or unfair or not right, that what they need to do in order to appeal. Now, it's just the fact that my property went up X number of dollars is not a valid appeal. It's got to be a reason, whether we've didn't take something into account, or we've overassessed because we've got a building, a house on there, or a storage barn or something that's not really there. That's a valid appeal. But just because it went up X number of dollars is not a valid appeal.
Okay.
But that information will be made available in the letters that go out.
Well, and one of the things about the taxes, I think all of us kind of have a sense of gratitude, if that's the word, that your house is worth more than it was 5 years ago. You feel like you're richer, if that's the word.
Well, some people do, but a lot of people don't.
But you're correct. A lot of people have told me I don't want my property to go up, the taxes will go up, et cetera, et cetera. So it is a two-sided sword, if that be the will. And the last thing, Mr. Chairman, is funny because I kind of recommended this 6-8 years ago, but nobody liked it. I think that somebody paid taxes 50 years to the county of Burke, they shouldn't have to pay taxes anymore. And if you get to age 75, you shouldn't have to pay taxes anymore. But that's another subject for another day. Thank you.
And let me say, that's a subject for the General Assembly, not the county.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Wayne? Jeff? All right, we do have a need for a public hearing. So at this time, I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak to the presentation of the 2023 Schedule of Value, Present Use Schedule of Values? Hearing and seeing no one, the public hearing is closed. And gentlemen, I will need a motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
If I may address the audience, if there's any organization that wishes me to come speak to them, I will be glad to do that, do a presentation for any civic club or organization, church, whatever. on what we're doing and why. I'll be glad to do that.
Wow, thank you. All right, again, we'll need a motion.
Chairman, I move that we receive this presentation and that we acknowledge receipt of the schedule of values and a present use schedule of values and hold a public hearing and held a public hearing on this date.
Thank you, Commissioner Britton. All in favor signify by raising of the right hand. Madam Clerk, that will be 4-0. Thank you so very much. Great presentation. All right, we'll move on to item number 8, which is our informal public comments. Each speaker, let me remind you, is limited to 3 minutes. You have registered with Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, you have a list.
I sure do, Mr. Vice Chairman. Our first speaker is Tanya Stevenson with the Chamber.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman and Commissioners, for allowing me to speak tonight. Thank you, Manager, Clerk. I am excited to come back and talk about litter. Hopefully there's a little bit less on the streets today than there was a couple days ago. We just want to say thank you from the Chamber of Commerce for supporting our inaugural litter sweep. It is this week. We had a team out just a few minutes ago doing it. We want to report that we have 13 teams signed up already and over 70 volunteers out cleaning up the streets of Burke County. So we're really excited about that. We've got great pictures of them as young as 4 that we know and on up. We won't talk about the upper end of that. So we're really excited about this litter sweep this week, and I just wanted to thank you for your support. We want to thank Republic Services for partnering with us on this program. We're going to do a celebration on October 3rd in the afternoon to give away a $500 prize to the first place team, $250 to second, and $150 to the third place team. So again, if anybody wants to sign up, it's not too late. BurkeCountyChamber.org. They can sign up and go pick up a litter this week and have a chance to win a prize. And even if they don't win the prize, they're going to help beautify Burke County. So thank you guys for your support.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tanya. Any comments? My favorite words are spay and neuter and pick up a piece of trash. I picked up 4 this afternoon as I was mowing, so I got mine done. All right, Madam Clerk.
Miss Mary Safford.
Ms. Stafford.
I'm slow.
You go take your time. Do you need to sit or standing will be okay?
I can stand.
Okay.
Good evening, gentlemen. Mary Charlotte Safford, Morganton. And I'm also speaking on behalf of St. Charles Borromeo Catholic Church. I've spoken to you before about the history of the Confederate Monument, but I want to speak about more recent things. About a month ago, I met a professional young black male who had just taken up a very important position in Burke County, and he came and he saw the Confederate flags, he saw the monument, and when he went to rent an apartment, the gentleman he spoke to first stated, I don't know why, by commenting that we rent to black people. Then he said to him several times, now you can't have your friends over here and make a lot of noise. You can't be out there drinking and causing problems. And that young black man knew, as I know, that if he had been white, that would not have happened to him. He now lives in Hickory. We lost him. I also know, over the last few years, several people have come for interviews for very important positions in Burke County. They have seen the flags, they have seen the monuments, and they have refused the positions, stating that they did not feel comfortable or welcome in our community. I know you care about Burke County and want to do what's best for us, but we do not need to lose good people because of symbols that they see as full of hatred and race. Finally, recently there was an anniversary of Charlottesville, where a group of armed men descended upon Charlottesville, Virginia, to protect a Confederate monument. And we all know of the violence that ensued, including a murder. In the summer of 2020, we had a group of white men, armed, come to our community and, without permission and illegally, surround the Confederate monument here. It could have been a bloodbath. I know you want what's best for this community. There is a public safety exemption to the monuments laws, and I please urge you to do that. I know you care about this county, and I hope you'll come to the conclusion that removing the Confederate monument is the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stafford. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Ed Konarski.
My name is Ed Konarski, and my family and I have lived in Burke County since 1986. I serve as a permanent deacon at St. Charles Borromeo Church in Morganton. I'm here to speak to you today in union with the Burke Coalition for Reconciliation. I support their goal of having the Confederate monument removed from the courthouse square. I support this because I believe that every human being is created in the image of God and redeemed by Jesus Christ, and is therefore invaluable and worthy of respect as a member of the human family. Every person, from the moment of conception until natural death, has inherent dignity and a right to life consistent with that dignity. Human dignity comes from God, not from any human quality or accomplishment or social status or group membership. Furthermore, we read in Scripture, "See what love the Father has bestowed on us, that we may be called children of God, yet so we are." I therefore believe that we are all brothers and sisters by the grace of God through the saving actions of Jesus Christ. Because of these beliefs, I believe it is wrong whenever one group of people is raised above another, and or another group is somehow treated with less than the dignity that God bestowed upon them. Such behavior is simply not consistent with the Christian view of the value of each human life. Furthermore, the fact that in the United States, a country founded on liberty and justice for all, a monument to promote one race over another still exists. It is disingenuous, in my view, to consider the Confederate monument on the courthouse square as a mere civic reminder of the past. In my view, this devalues the God-given dignity of a group of my brothers and sisters in Christ. To me, keeping the Confederate monument on the courthouse square is a sin against the unity of the body of Christ, as well as the unity and overall health of our community. I urge all of us in Burke County, especially our leaders, to listen and get to know others that are unlike us. We must hear and acknowledge their experiences, knowing that the Lord has taken the divine initiative by loving us first. We must reach out to others and get to know them so that we can truly see each other just as Christ sees each one of us. We can learn from these encounters where we, personally or as a community, continue to fail our brothers and sisters. We can then seek to address those failures so reconciliation can proceed. I urge you to please initiate whatever steps are necessary to undertake the process of removing the Confederate monument from the courthouse square. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Leslie McKesson.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for the time and attention that you give to us as we come before you each month. My name is Leslie McKesson. I'm a resident of Burke County. Tonight I'd like to share just a little bit of information from a personal viewpoint, and it's not what you think it's going to be. Many people support the lost cause notion that the Civil War was about states' rights with no connection to slavery or racism. Tonight I'm going to share two excerpts from a primary historical and legal document that's recorded in the archives of the North Carolina Department of Justice. These statements were made in the petition for amnesty of Jacob Harshaw as his official request to be repatriated and restored to American citizenship after he materially supported the Confederacy. I ask you to hear the words of this official document that was executed and recorded within months of the end of the Civil War, and then complete the phrase that is so often used to justify the symbols of Confederacy, states' rights. The question is, states' rights to do what? Jacob Harshaw, Burke County, North Carolina, petition for pardon under the 13th exception, submitted August 1st, 1865, and I quote, "To His Excellency Andrew Johnson, President of the United States, the petition of Jacob Harshaw of the County of Burke and State of North Carolina respectfully shows that he is now 80 years of age, was born and raised in the county wherein he now resides, that he has always been a plain farmer, followed its peaceful avocation, and by the sweat of his brow became the architect of his own fortunes, that he was a poor man when he commenced himself in life, but by industry and economy and a strict attention to business, he has acquired a competency." Unquote. Allow me to clarify that the business and acquired competency that Harshaw spoke of was the slave trade. The 1850 federal census indicates that he was the second largest holder of enslaved people in Burke County. Harshaw's petition explained that he was fundamentally opposed to secession, that he reluctantly yielded to North Carolina's decision to leave the Union, and that he lost most of his fortune, which he built, parenthetically, through the slave trade, by investing in bonds and securities that supported the Confederacy. Harshaw concluded his petition by swearing an oath to the following words: "I, Jacob Harshaw, do solemnly swear or affirm in the presence of Almighty God that I will henceforth faithfully support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Union of the States thereunder, that I will in like manner abide by the faithfully support all laws and proclamations which have been made during the existing rebellion with reference to the emancipation of slaves. So help me God." This mandatory oath demonstrates without question that slavery was a core of the Confederate rebellion. Jacob Harshaw was a white man. He was my great-great-great-grandfather. President Andrew Johnson granted amnesty, restoring him to full citizenship and privilege on August 21st, 1865. It would be 100 years later before my black ancestors would even approach that level of citizenship. Thank you for your time, Jim.
Thank you, Leslie.
Rachel Lacey.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Rachel Lacey, and my husband, Mark Lacey, is here with me. As you can see, we are a biracial couple. We are very proud to be residents and part of the Morganton community. Please allow me to share my personal story. I was born in Ivory Coast, West Africa, where much of the slave trade occurred. I lived in Switzerland for 8 years and moved to New Jersey in 2008. New Jersey was a very diverse community where there were no Confederate statues or flags. I had co-workers who told me that moving to North Carolina would be dangerous for me. I have found Morganton to be a very welcoming place. But having a Confederate monument in the middle of downtown, in front of a courthouse, generates fear and discomfort in me. The flags and the statues are reminders of a very dark part of American history. Each time I see a statue downtown or the flag on I-40, it reminds me of suffering. It reminds me of blood. It reminds me of death for particular people who look like me. I feel scared for my well-being. The only way to heal from this history is to remove from public display any monument and flags of Confederacy and put them in museums for historical reference to honor those who sacrificed their lives in the misguided Civil War. I would like to take the opportunity to thank you for allowing me the time to share my personal experiences. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Yes.
That's all the pre-registrations I had.
Okay, thank you. This time I'll close the portion of the informal public comments. Move on to item number 9 is the consent agenda. At this time, I'll ask Brian Steen, County Manager, to review the items on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, you have 12 items. BOC resolution in support of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Item 2, clerk reappointments to WPRTA. Item 3, clerk appointment of review officer for Morganton and Roadhis. Item 4, clerk reappointments to Burke County Planning Board. Item 5, community development, general services funding for sewer repairs at Indian Hills. Item 6, community development, general services funding for sewer repairs for Island Creek. Item 7, fire marshal proclamation of Fire Prevention Week, October 9th through the 15th, 2022. Item 8, fire marshal resolution requesting the Drexel Road Bridge be named in honor of fallen firefighter Jason Keith Hensley. Item 9, library, acceptance of non-recurring state aid and non-state entity award agreement. Item 10, tax department tax collection report for August 2022. Item 11, tax department release refund report for August 2022. And item 12, DSS, request for approval of out-of-state travel. That concludes your consent agenda, gentlemen.
All right, gentlemen, any comments or questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda. All in favor signify by raising of the right hand. Madam Clerk, that will be 4-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to item number 10 is items for decision. This time we have an appointment to, or reappointment to the Burke County Board of Adjustment, and that will be presented by Madam Clerk Kay Drone. Kay.
Good evening, Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the board. Seat number 4, representing the West on the Burke County Board of Adjustment, is occupied by Tony Yunt. His term expires at the end of September, and he is willing to serve another 3-year term. The Planning Department respectfully requests the reappointment of Mr. Yunt. He's been a good member and has 3 years of experience on the Board of Adjustment. However, we also have an application from Mr. Chad Barrow, who is a resident of Morganton. So this is a request to make an appointment or reappointment to the Burke County Board of Adjustment for a 3-year term ending September 30th, 2025.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Questions for Kay?
Mr. Chairman, we've got an opening in East Burke. Can we talk to one of these gentlemen into moving to East Burke, and we'll have 2 good people on board?
Sure, Kay will give you the telephone number and you can call him. All right, if there's no other comments, we will take at this time I will take a nomination of either one of these gentlemen for this position.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Tony Yunt for this position.
Which one? I couldn't hear you.
Tony Yunt. Are there any other nominations? If not, nominations will be closed, and we will reappoint Tony Yunt to the Burke County Board of Adjustment for a 3-year term ending September the 30th, 2025. All in favor, lift your, signify by raising the right hands. Madam Clerk, be 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, we'll move into our reports and comments section, and I believe I'll start on the far end of the table down there with Margaret.
Thank you, Chairman, Vice Chairman Carswell. Tonight, I really don't have a report. I appreciate again your kind words about our award. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. County Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Since the last meeting of Commissioners on August 16th, we have completed the Eckerness local grant agreement. I have prepared 2 lawsuits to file hopefully this week for 2 separate businesses that have located themselves in residential zoned areas. I have completed title searches on the properties that the county will be acquiring or acquiring easements in for trail use. Prepared motions for show cause orders in 2 current lawsuits, bringing back before the court zoning offenders who have not obeyed their court orders. I have reviewed a termination letter between the sheriff's office and the jail food provider. Reviewed a contract for surveying with West Consultants concerning the DAV Avenue property and have made recommendations for changes to that. I've reviewed a memorandum of agreement with Western Piedmont Community College, allowing their law enforcement training center to use county space, and I'm in the process now of making recommended changes thereto. I attended the Board of Commissioners Board of Education Working Group meeting of September 14th, and I have reviewed the proposed cell phone ping policy for the 911 department. That concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk?
No comments from me, thank you.
Mr. Abley?
No comment.
Commissioner Taylor?
Mr. Chairman, as my dad would say, the mainest thing of my comments today. Madam Clerk, would you make sure that everybody who should get this is a announcement for the Western North Carolina Water Quality Conference, which is October the 7th, and it runs from 8:45 to 3:45. And some of our managing teams always attend that conference, so we need to get that word out. I'll also share with you that this is the anniversary date, the last 3 or 4 weeks of putting stents in my heart, and I have gone to 2 different doctors. They've done 2 x-rays, and they say I can act 35 if I want to, so, and I appreciate that. And that's all I have.
Mr. Britton?
No comments, sir.
All right, I have no comments either. Go back to the county manager.
I believe we've got somebody in the house who's having a birthday shortly.
And that would be,
Madame Clerk. She's going to be 25 again.
would that be this coming Sunday, the 25th?
I think you're right.
All right. Turning 25 again, are you, Kay?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Doesn't the rules say when the secretary has one that she buys everybody else a gift?
absolutely. Especially when she turns 25 again. Let me do a couple of reminders for you. October the 4th is our pre-agenda meeting. October the 4th will also be a special meeting where we will again visit the schedule of values and take a motion to adopt those. October the 18th is our regular scheduled meeting. Let me remind you, do not litter. Please pick up some trash. Cover your loads. If you're taking a load over to the dump, please cover your load. That seems to be the biggest problem. We have people that still do not cover the loads when they take something over to the dump itself. Spay and neuter your pets. Please spay and neuter. Adopt and foster. As I said earlier, we had a big run on animals turned into the center. Madam Clerk has been spending special time down there along with all of our other volunteers, and we certainly do appreciate that. So those are the only announcements I have. Let's go to the vacancies, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We have the following opportunities for citizens to participate in county boards and committees: the Adult Care and Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee, the City of Morganton Planning Board and Board of Adjustment for the ETJ, Burke Senior Center Advisory Council, Child Protection and Child Fatality Prevention Team, East Burke Senior Center Advisory Board, Burke County Board of Adjustment, Council on Aging, the Burke County Board of Health, and Partners Consumer and Family Advisory Committee representing the Traumatic Brain Injury Seat.
Madam Clerk, I invite all of Burke County citizens to please take a look at the openings here. If you want to know more about your government and be a part of that government, this is the best way to do it. We do have a need for a closed session tonight to discuss economic development matters and discuss contractual matters as far as land acquisition. Pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11, paragraph A, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'll need a motion to go into closed session. We have a motion by Wayne. All in favor signify by raising the right hands. All right, let's take about 5 minutes and then we'll go into closed session. I would then like to invite Alan Wood, if you will, join us in that meeting, sir. I do not anticipate any action that will come out of this meeting that would be mainly for informational purposes only. Gentlemen, we've got about 5 minutes. To come out of closed session by Mr. Wayne Abley. Therefore, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Taylor. All in favor? That's 4-0, Madam Clerk.